Hello and welcome to Tat Plus. My name is Martin Perhiniak. In this tutorial, we are going to have a look at the channel mixer adjustment layer. First, I would like to explain what really happens whenever you use this adjustment. So, as you know, whenever you have an image which is in RGB color mode, that means you have three separate grayscale images representing each of the channels. So if you go to the channels panel, there you can have a look at these channels. And you can see the composite channel, the RGB image, where you have the three channels together. But if you click on, let's say, red, then you can see exactly how that grayscale image looks like. Now, the brighter you see an area in this channel, that means the more red color you have on those areas. So we can see that on the trucks, we have quite a lot of red, and also here on the grass. When I choose green channel, then we can see again the intensity of green is quite high here in the grass. It's less intense on the trucks. And if I choose blue, then we will see the blue color is most intense on the sky, and it's much more darker here on the cars and the foreground in the grass, because there's not much blue in those areas. So wherever it's darker, there's less intensity of the selected color. Wherever it's brighter, there's more intensity of the selected color. You can quickly switch between these channels as well by using Command 3, 4, and 5 or Control 3, 4, and 5 on PC. And you can do that wherever you are in Photoshop. You don't have to have the channels panel open. And to go back to the composite view, the RGB view, you can press Command or Control 2. And now that we had a look at these channels separately, the three grayscale images, we can open up the channel mixer adjustment layer. So this is the one here in the second row. And once I select it, we can have a look at the layers panel and see that, yeah, we created a non-destructive adjustment layer just above our original image. And if I go back to the channels panel, I can keep an eye out on these channels while I make changes in the adjustment layer. So here in the properties panel, we can see that we have a couple of presets which we can choose from. And we also have the three output channels, red, green, and blue. And after that, we have the monochrome option and also three sliders. So these are the source channels here. And for each output channel, we can make changes to the source channels. So in the red channel, we will have 100% red. Then the green will be again 100% green. And blue will be blue 100%. And a good thing to keep in mind is that we have also a number here which shows the total percentage for an output channel, which you should always keep around 100%. Or actually, it's best to keep it exactly at 100%. Because if you increase these numbers and they go above 100%, then your image will get brighter. So for example, if I type in 150 here for the blue, then we can see that the blue got more intense. So we intensified that channel, but the whole image also got more brighter. So this was before using the channel mixer, and this is after. So the blue is more intense, plus the whole image got a little bit brighter. Now that can be already an effect that you want to achieve, and you can even go all the way up to 200%. And that will add a very strong blue tone to the whole image. If I go minus, so if I add a minus before this 200, then again the total percentage will be minus 200, which means we completely got rid of the blue, but even went to the other side, which means we intensified the other two channels. So we will have a mixture of red and green, which is yellow. And once we set this back to 100%, then the image will go back to its original state. Now, we can always play around with these values in each of the output channel and come up with interesting tints and changes to the colors. But what's most interesting in the channel mixer panel is the monochrome option. So as soon as we choose monochrome, we will have all the output channels mixed together into a gray channel. And in this gray channel, we can still control each of the source channels. So by default, we have 40, 40, 20%. But we can change that around. So if we want to have, for example, a very strong red intensity, so we want to make them bright, then we can set red to 100% and then green and blue to 0. So that way we brightened up the red colors and created a grayscale image based on these changes, which is looking quite good in this example. But we can go to 0 with the red and set blue to 100%, and then everything else apart from the sky will be quite dark. So we can always set these back to the default values, so 40, 40, 20. But once we set the option to monochrome and then turn it off, then again we have an interesting setup, because then for the red, green and blue channels, we have the same percentage for each of the source channels. So we have 40, 40, 20%. And once we start playing around these values after we turned on and turned off the monochrome option, we will again have a different setup. So this will be more like a hand-tinted effect once we start playing around here. So let's just have a look. For example, for the blue, I'm going to get rid of both of the green and blue percentage and set the red to 100%. So we already have a very interesting effect. More blue colors visible on the trucks and yellow colors on the sky. Let's have a look if we switch to the green channel. And once again, we set 100% for red and 0, for the other two. So once again, we made another interesting effect. Again, we shifted the colors around. So remember, we have blue, the same setup, and green, the same setup. Now, if I would go to the red channel and I would set that up the same way, so 100%, 0, then we would get the original monochrome effect when we have red set to 100%. But what if I set this up to 0% now, and we set, for example, blue up to 100%? Once again, we have another interesting effect. We have red on the sky and blue on the cars. And even some parts here, we have a little bit of red. Let's do the same thing. I just set this to 0% and set green up to 100%. Or we can also divide these two to 50, 50%. Then we can also try to keep blue at 100% and leave green at 0% on the red output channel. And then we go to green output channel and once again play around with the values here. And instead of having red at 100%, we can have blue at 100% there. Or we can also set this up to 200%, and then we will have a very bright, colorful effect. But we can always tone that down by setting something up to -100. So you can see, because we set the output channel to green and we removed the reds, so the intensity of red is set to -100, that means all those details will be very dark here in the green channel. But if I go the other way and I set that up to 200 and maybe set the blue to -100, then we will have the opposite and we will have a very bright green channel, which means we will have a lot of green colors in our image. So always keep an eye on the channels panel whenever you use the channel mixer, because that will really help you to see what you are doing and what you need to do to achieve a specific result. And last but not least, you can also choose the option to save the channel mixer preset. So if you want to choose it next time, you will be able to use it from the presets menu. And that's all I wanted to show you in this tutorial. I hope you find the channel mixer interesting and you will give it a try, and that you will also join me next time here on Tuts Plus. Thanks a lot for your attention and see you next time.